and I did the Wikipedia like normal. So if you want to grab on that,
I'll hop on it now. Do I sound okay?
yeah.
Word. Are we
And
live now?
we are live on YouTube. What is
Live,
up?
pal.
We're live, pal.
What'd he do?
Yeah. So we took a couple days to get to this podcast, but
A little regrouping, I should say.
I will tell you, I will take the blame on this one. Saturday, the boys, including Andy, Brent, and Sean and I, they came over and we watched some old school backyard wrestling tapes of the boys, and didn't realize, but it was 2 in the morning when everyone left, and I was oh so tired, and
Oh, it was
I was done for Sunday.
I hear that. It took me a minute too. I don't know why. I felt like I couldn't catch up at
Yeah.
all.
Monday didn't work for either of us. Tuesday you have training, so here we are.
Wednesday.
I will tell you though, that pen that you had on Saturday, holy mother of God,
You know,
wowza!
I talked to them about that. Asked them if it was for the Hulk or if it was for us. And they smiled and then laughed repeatedly. So thanks.
Okay, so they know. They know the power.
They know. They were like, well, you said the other one was weak. I was like, no. Didn't say the other one was weak. I said it was lighter.
Well, this one is mega strong.
This one's not lighter. It's just strong.
Yeah, stronger for sure.
For sure. But how's your week been?
Yeah, normal, same old. Didn't really work last week, just kind of chilled. Uh, yeah, not much, nothing too crazy, honestly.
Nice.
I did jump into NFT, so I guess I could talk about that real quick. I jumped into an
Ooh.
NFT called Cold Blooded Creeps, and it's like a Futurama-esque drawing of like it's supposed to be that conspiracy theory that there's lizard people. So it's a Futurama-esque drawing with NFTs, and I bought two for like 0.28 Ethereum, and now each of them are worth 1 Ethereum. So I basically turned like $900 into about 7 grand in
Doesn't sound bad to me.
a week, but not selling yet. Not selling yet.
But you like what they're standing for?
Yeah, they just have a lot of NFT projects, and that's the thing that people need to learn if you're jumping into NFTs. A lot of NFT projects have a roadmap, but a lot of the times they don't go they don't go from step one to step two unless they got a certain goal on step one, and then they won't go to step two, from two to three unless they hit a certain goal. This project, they have 4 seasons worth of the game and the NFTs already prepared. It's already done. So
Oh wow.
now they're just waiting for dates.
Oh wow.
So it's like it's not one of those things as if it's gonna happen. It's just when the dates hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was one guy. I don't know. I don't really know the guy's name, but there's a one NFT influencer who has like 3 million followers. Just bought a bunch of them. Apparently, Logan Paul was in the Discord earlier saying he bought some, but I don't know how true that is.
Logan Paul. I mean, he is big on NFTs, so
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But and the crazy thing is that they're the floor is already 1 Ethereum, and they haven't even started doing the marketing yet. They said they were gonna wait until after the game is released to start doing the marketing, and the game gets released on
Oh
Saturday.
wow.
Yeah, so I can only imagine what
All
it's gonna look
right.
like at that point. Yeah,
It'll probably
yeah.
blow up from there, to
I
be
dude,
honest,
I have
because
two.
then everything will
So
be starting.
there's different colors and rarity, kind of like cards and stuff. So it's like green is common, blue is rare, gray is I don't know, like no, if you want to say green is common, blue is uncommon, gray is rare, yellow is very rare, and then like purple is like ultra rare.
Yeah.
I have two grays. So I have two that are like right in the middle.
Okay.
So I have one that's less rare than the other one, and I'm gonna sell my less rare one when the floor hits 10 Ethereum.
Ooh.
And then I'm gonna hold uh the rest, the other one until it gets like 50 or 60.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, I'm telling you, all I've been seeing is just stuff pop up saying like how young kids are getting into NFTs and young kids making thousands upon thousands of dollars and
If
how
not
it's not
millions, man.
hard. One of my boys just made a NFT of himself. And I was like, yo, I literally had that idea and he told me how he did it. So I'm gonna see if maybe we can go about doing maybe a Whoa Daddy NFT or a
Okay.
Disaster Party Podcast NFT if I can figure it out.
I know that there is a kid in a foreign country outside the United States. I guess he took a photo of himself for 3 years every day in front of his computer, and he is selling
Yeah.
each individual photo as an NFT.
Oh wow,
And the floor of that NFT is zero point 0.6.
bruh.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty crazy.
I don't. Yeah, I gotta figure this out. We
Yeah.
have to figure this out.
I mean, I'm already kind of figuring it out, but yeah. No,
Facts.
it's cool
I'm
stuff.
way behind.
That's all right. I tried to get you into the creeps one, but you were just a little late.
I was a little too late, but
Yeah.
that's okay. For every setback is a great comeback. So
There is another one coming up, but I don't think either of us would get on the whitelist. And the whitelist is basically like you get a pre-order spot, and I don't think anyone's gonna get on this whitelist because there's only 5,000 of them. But when they go on sale, I'm gonna sit there on the secondary market and wait for it to be like as soon as it gets listed, it'll probably get listed pretty low because that's what normally happens. It slowly
yeah,
works up, and then I'll scoop one and just hold it.
yeah, holding it your best bet.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. All right, I don't know if you want to jump into the pod. We could do that. Today we are going to be talking about um, Matrix Resurrections.
Ooh, man, this was a great movie,
I enjoyed it.
especially for how long it took for them to make a new Matrix movie. I'm excited.
Agreed. Agreed. All right, you ready to start recording?
I mean, I will try my best.
Okay, here we go.
Ooh.
Three, two, one. Welcome to Disaster Party Podcast. As always, this is Rob Cedeno, joined by my co-host.
Oh, daddy. It's your boy Andy Bivians. It's Bivians. I am the one true whoa daddy of Bivians INC, your American icon and heavyweight champion, prime time of the world. Damn, I'm feeling fine. Because tonight we're on episode 59. Whoa, daddy.
Whoa, Daddy. All right, Joe, just as a reminder, everyone, we are live on YouTube. So if you are not in here now, here's a suggestion for the future. If you could do us a favor, follow us on YouTube, hit the notification bell so you know when we are going live. So if you are free, if you want to, and join us when we go live, you can leave comments if you've watched what we're talking about, or just, bullshit with us and we'll just kind of read comments while we're recording. If you haven't already, again, remember to like, share, rate, review, comment, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms, including TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and the Twitter.
Twitter.
Twitter. So today we will review Matrix Resurrections. It came out in 2021. Right at the end of the year, right, I believe on Christmas Eve or something like that. Um,
Yep.
and it is on HBO Max actually only until the 20th of January, so it will be off in 8 days. So if you haven't watched it yet or you're interested in watching it, I would jump on that sooner than later.
I you know this movie made 125 million at the box office?
Even with it being on streaming too.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it came out December 22nd, 2001 in the US.
Mm, I knew it was around Christmas. So what did you think
Yeah,
overall
only a couple days.
what did you think overall?
I actually thought it was really good. I know a lot of people they got a lot of slack for it being like bad or they hated it, and I heard it flopped and they might not get another one. But I personally, I thought it was awesome, and the way that it ended it left it open for so much for the future.
I agree with that
What about you?
100%. I really enjoyed it. I don't know. I mean, I could see some of it being a little corny and like the ending wasn't really explained, but I think that's the whole purpose because if you remember the first Matrix, like the ending wasn't really explained and it kind of led into the second, which then explained it. But I thought it was cool. Like I thought it was unique enough that it wasn't like it didn't when it first started, you didn't really know what was going on, so it wasn't like a direct link to the previous, but it eventually got there. It played homage to a lot of the original three, a lot of it, um, and it was interesting how they brought back characters from the original trilogy as different actors, and then they actually explained it, and it made sense for the most part.
Facts. And it's I love the way that they did that too, because like even for the original characters, I haven't seen the Matrix in so long. Like I know a lot of people went back and watched the originals. I haven't seen it in years. So when certain people or certain things were mentioned or certain things popped up, I'm like, when was that? And they did
Mhm.
a good job when flashing back and being like, hey, remember when this happened? And then they show clips from like 1 and 2. I'm like, oh, okay, now I remember.
And three, one, two, and
Um,
three.
yeah. So it was cool how they did that. And it's cool how they kind of tied everything in. And for me, The Matrix has always been like a movie about life instead of like a movie about hacking, if that makes any sense. So like there's so many times where I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, that's a message. Oh, that's a bar. Oh, that's a message.
Yo, we got when Well Done's World says banger movie in my opinion. We agree, man. We agree.
Facts. He was the one that told me within the first 5 minutes that the movie was fire. And I'm like, well, you're only a couple minutes in, so let's see. But he wasn't wrong.
I mean, I texted you and I was only a half.
Facts. I don't know if it's me or if it's the feed. I don't know if I can't hear you. Yeah. Can you hear me? That's really weird. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if it's on my side or if it's on his side, but I can't hear you at all, but you can hear me, which is really weird. I have no idea what's going on. Yeah, no.
Good now? Can you hear me now?
Oh, there we are. Yeah, now I
Oh,
can hear you.
okay. That's weird. So that just went out randomly.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I
okay.
didn't know if it was on my side or
Interesting.
probably. I always have that robot side.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I'm clear now. All right. I guess I'm clear now. Yep. He told. Weldon said no audio. Yeah. My bad. I guess that was me.
But yeah, no, I
Anyways.
thought it was a banger.
Yeah. I thought it was banging. I just thought it was so unique how like the beginning of it, like the first hour essentially, was a lot of detail in it, but it can be summarized pretty easily. But you have to watch it to get the bond and the relationship between the characters, and which then, drives the point home later in the movie. But the running treadmill, I mean, we'll get into it, but it, like you said, it is a story about life and on how you wake up
Man,
or stay in it.
so many different. Like, all right, I'll say this now because I don't remember exactly when they said this, but there's a quote, and once I hear it again, once we go through it, it'll kick in. But the biggest thing was that there's no such thing as a choice or being confused on what to choose because you already know what the choice is. You're just battling back and forth and battling your own self, trying to talk yourself out of what you're already choosing to do.
Mm,
And as soon as I heard that, I was like, damn, let's go.
yeah. All right. Do you want to start the movie?
All right, let's see. Let me pull up. So now we are, as the movie starts, Thomas Anderson is a successful
Mr. Anderson.
Anderson is a successful video game developer and the creator of the video game The Matrix, a series based on his faint memories as Neo. So he's at a local coffee shop and he keeps crossing paths with this girl, and her name is Tiffany. And she is a married mother with literally no recollection of her past, on which Anderson based Trinity off of, the character in this game. Um, and as you see it, it is like the character is Trinity, but she has a different family life now. She's married, she's got kids. Um, and Anderson struggles at times to kind of separate his faint memories of the Matrix from reality. So he keeps bouncing back and forth in between what's real and what's not. Um, and he perceives that all of the memories are just his dreams that are happening. So he sees this therapist that keeps prescribing him blue pills so that way he can suppress the dreams and keep going on with his life.
This was so cool. Like I know, like I said, a lot of this could be summarized pretty easily, but the overall thing of this is was showing like when the movie first started, you're like, wait, is this a Matrix movie? Because it's showing Neo or Anderson as just like a regular coder or game creator in a big building at like a big corporation, and then they're doing like the brainstorming meetings in the office with his little psychic guy who, we'll get into him later. And it just kind of shows how he's just doing the regular mundane life, just, work home, work home, work home, work home, work home. But he's working on a different mod of the Matrix, like of his game. But also, isn't this like the area where they show the character of Bugs, and she's kind of looking through the city trying to find, um, basically going through the mod Matrix, trying to find either Neo or Morpheus, and then she ends up seeing Morpheus, and he's an agent, and then
Oh
I guess,
yeah.
and then Morpheus, which is again is a younger version of Morpheus, he like he saves her, pulls her into a thing, and then kind of does that whole thing of like, hey, I'm Morpheus. What's going on? What's going on? And then they find Neo's room, and then from that point they realize that they're in his world, and then Neo in his world in the Matrix, he realizes that his code was there was something going differently with his code in the game.
That's right. Isn't that where she kind of tells like Morpheus like, "Hey, let me show you like a different reality." Isn't that when she like gives him the pill when they're inside the room because the other agents are still chasing her?
Yeah, yeah. And then when you said the therapist, so there was a whole thing, right? That which was kind of meta though, because the boss of the game studio calls Tom in and basically says like, "Hey, Warner Brothers wants us to make a sequel of the game," and he's like, "Well, the game's already created. Like, we don't need to do it again." He's like, "No, it's a cash grab. Blah blah blah. We're gonna do this. You're on board. I know you're on board." It kind of like forces him into it, and you could see Neo was looking at his boss, and his mouth is getting like in the Matrix movie when Neo's mouth gets all stuck, and he's just trying to open his mouth, and the same thing happens to his boss. But then all of a sudden, he's in his psychologist's office, and the psychologist is Neil Patrick Harris, and he's basically saying like, "Oh, you've advanced so much since you first started coming here. Do you need me to prescribe you more pills? Um, this is just your mind telling you that you wanted him to be quiet because you wanted to be heard." And like at this point, you don't really know what the real world is because you've seen Bugs, the character. She has blue hair in the Matrix, but then you're also seeing like Neo as a game developer. And again, like you said, he goes to the coffee shop, he sees the Trinity or Tiffany, and then it gets to the point that he goes to the coffee shop. His little assistant, like, basically goes up to Tiffany and goes, "Oh yeah, my friend over there," kind of thing. So it's just kind of you're like, what is real, what is not? It's kind of fucking with you, and then the whole thing is um whatchamacallit. Then after the boss says like, "Hey," oh no, no, no. Well, actually, sorry. This is important. So when they show Morpheus, he kind of does like a flashback thing of showing him before he became an agent, how he was just doing life. He was just going, going on the treadmill, going home, going on the treadmill, going home, like literal gym treadmill, going home, etc., etc., until he became an agent. And then as this new game is being developed, they show Tim Anderson or Neo doing the same thing. They're working on the game. They're showing the people in the brainstorm meeting. He goes home. He takes a pill. Goes to work. Brainstorm meeting, etc., 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 and ends up just going in a big loop. And you could see how the brainstorm meeting people are just saying the same thing over and over. And you could see he's just going to the gym over and over and over. And then to the point, you could see his like he's shaking and he just throws all his pills on the floor.
And it's funny because again, you get the analogy of life. Every time we go to do something, we wake up, we go to work, we come home, we eat dinner, we go to sleep, we wake up, we go to work. It's that same constant treadmill of running over and over and over again. And Another thing when Neo is in or Thomas Anderson is in his office and he's talking to his boss, he has flashbacks about his boss like trying to kill him or trying to hurt him, I believe. And his boss winds up being the same agent that kept chasing after Thomas Anderson in the originals.
Yeah, Mr. Smith or Agent Smith.
Agent Smith.
But then, like, so they realize Bugs and Morpheus basically realize what, I guess, Matrix verse that Neo is in, right? And they go to
Mm-hmm.
his job and they set off an alarm and they text him and they go, you know what this is about, make a right here, right? So, but before we get to that point, sorry, there is a point in it that when Trinity or Tiffany meets Neo, they talk about him like jumping off the building after he got an award for the game. And then that's what started to put him into the therapy and started with the blue pills. Because I think they wipe his memory, and at that point he kind of started remembering, and then they kind of called him crazy.
So, and again, another analogy for life when you want to do something or you want to shoot for a goal, sometimes you just got to take that leap of faith. And that's pretty much what happened there is he had a goal, he took the leap, but they never know what happened after he took that leap.
Mhm. So back to they text Neo, they tell him to go right into like a bathroom. Everyone else runs out. Neo runs to the bathroom, and Morpheus is there, and he's basically, this is the second time he met Morpheus, and last time he kind of was like, no, 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 that's not true, blah blah blah, and so Morpheus in the bathroom, and he's like, hey, you got to pick the red or the blue, red or the blue, and he's like, whoa, whoa, this can't be real, like I'm just dreaming this. My psychologist says like it's all in my head, like the Matrix isn't real, blah 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 blah, and so all of a sudden all these cops start coming in and then they come into the bathroom. Morpheus is shooting them up. Neo or Thomas is running out, like trying to duck and hide. Morpheus is just shooting up the place, like the old school Matrix. And then Neo kind of gets behind a desk. A gun drops, and his boss, like you said, is ancient. I guess he got his memory wiped too, and he sees a gun, picks it up, and then realizes that he's Agent Smith, and starts trying to shoot at um, Neo.
That Neo, yeah, he just starts trying to light him up. He's like, my boss tried to kill me. And they're just running around. And that's when, like, he wakes up and he's at his therapist's office, right?
Yeah, I believe so. And then he's at his therapist's office again.
And he's
Again, I
like, tell
watched
me
this in
what.
like three different parts with a 2-year-old. Well, I wasn't watching with him, but I was watching it between his naps. So if my timeline is off, it's just sorry.
That's why we're a disaster party.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, you know. But yeah, he's back at his therapist's office, and he's like, "Tell me what you saw." And his therapist is like, kind of talking to him, but then his therapist is like, "Okay, well, was any of this real?" And then he makes Thomas Anderson. Well, he doesn't make Thomas Anderson, but Thomas Anderson's just like, "No, it was all in my head. It was all a dream.
He
There's
even
no way
said
this can be
something.
real."
He even said something. If he's like, if you go back to your office right now, will there be dead people and guns everywhere,
He's
or
like,
will
"No,
be
it
fires
was
or
all in my
something?
head."
Yeah.
Yeah, the building's still standing. It was all in my head. It was all a dream. None of that is real. Again, another analogy of life. When you try to escape and do something different out of the normal, your brain is going to constantly tell you that it can't be done if nobody else has done it, or you can't do it. And that's just negativity and fear holding you back, bringing you back into the matrix. So that way you can live the normal 9 to 5, comfortable, mundane life.
And go on the treadmill, or the
Back to the
the
treadmill.
hamster wheel.
Another thing that was cool too, and again, I watched this movie probably about a week ago, so my timeline's probably off too. But Um, the pills that his doctor gives him are the blue pills, which in
Hmm.
the Matrix is the one that keeps you believing the same thing over and over again. And you see that he's got to take the blue pill every single day. And he's like sitting and he's thinking and he's in the tub and he sees Tiffany and knows he knows Tiffany, but Tiffany can't be real because that's just his dream. But then he goes back and he takes another pill for the next day and he just keeps reliving the same day over and over again.
Yeah. So this part I'm kind of missing. I'm blanking on how he gets from that to actually being woken up.
So, the blue hair chick finds him again,
Oh yes,
and
because
that's
oh
when
I
they go
remember. I
into the.
remember now. I remember exactly what it is. Sorry. Um,
Go for it.
he ends up getting drunk because he's just like, this is ridiculous. He goes to the roof again, thinking he's gonna jump, and she comes in and basically was like, "Hey, listen, we know who you are. This is all real. You got to come with me before they find you again." And he's like, "Oh, I don't know, I don't know." And she convinces him to walk through the door. And then when they walk through the door, it's like to a different version of the Matrix, and they walk into almost like a theater. And in the theater, it's replaying the Morpheus and Neo scene from the first movie. And now this new age Morpheus, the younger Morpheus, is there again offering the pills. And then that's why he's like, "You again?"
he's like, because it again, we don't know where the original Morpheus is. I think they might have explained it, but I think that was one of the things that got lost on me. Um, but this version of the Morpheus is the one that Thomas Anderson created. Um,
In his
so he's
game.
literally all just code, yeah, in his
Yeah.
game. And he's remembering everything as they go on as well. So he's telling them, I keep seeing this playback over and over again. And I think that's where like the agents start finding them and they start breaking in and he looks in the mirror and he looks at himself and that's when they show him like we've been trying to find you but they changed your source code and now he doesn't look like himself. He looks like an older man or
Like
older
a
version.
balding older man. But then he
Yeah.
eventually takes the red pill and he's like freaking out, kind of like how it was actually funny when Morpheus took the red pill, he was almost acting drunk. So that was kind of funny. But when
Yeah.
Neo took the pill, he's kind of getting all groggy and he goes and touches the mirror. And when he touches the mirror, Neo it like leads into the psychiatrist's office. And Neil
Yep.
Patrick Harris is like pulling him through and is basically saying, "No, this is all fake. Come with me. I'll show you the real world." Like what, and he basically trying to convince him to go with him, and like that everything that the Morpheus and Bugs are telling him is all fake.
And he's like, "Stay with me," and he's like getting angrier and angrier as like he starts seeing that he's losing his grip on Neo. And then
Hmm.
Neo takes the red pill, and everything starts freaking out. Then they wind up on a train, don't they?
Yes, I think. So the agents start coming in. They start attacking them. They start shooting. The rest of Bugs's crew is there. They're helping. They go to escape. They jump in a door or a mirror, and they get on a train. And Bugs is like, "It's harder for them to track us while we're moving." So they're running through the train, and they realize that I guess now the agents have this new ability that they don't need to be agents like in the original movies, and they can kind of become anybody. So the train starts becoming the agents, every single person, and so now they're all fighting, and they end up killing like all of them. They run in the bathroom and they're like, "All right, we got to try to find a way out. We got to try to find a way out." And there's a guy on their ship, like in the real world. He's on the ship, and he is helping them digitally. So it shows him in the Matrix, but he's not really there. But he's talking through like a mic, and he's like, "All right, you got to go in the bathroom. You got to go to the bathroom." And they're like, "That's a small mirror." And they're like, "Look, it's the best we could do." So so you see Neo go in, and then that's when he gets woken up from his pod.
And that's almost like the original guy that was helping Neo on his original ship, like kind of trying to help him navigate too.
Yeah, the difference is that that navigation was just like through the ear, like an earpiece or something, but this was like he was
Yeah,
actually visible.
it's like new technology.
Yeah. So at this point, Neo gets woken up from his pod, and these like robots pull him out, and you're like, "Oh shit, the robots got him." And as he's getting pulled out, you could see he's looking at Trinity's pod, and it shows that she's still alive. If you've watched um, if you've watched the last one, the last of the trilogy, she actually gets killed. So now, if you're going from that to this, you're like, wait, it appeared that Neo died and Trinity died at the end of the last one. So again, there's a lot of explaining to do still. So the machines were actually sent by bugs, and it brings him to the ship. They check his vitals, make sure he's all good and stuff like that. Um, yeah, and he wakes
This
up.
is
He wakes up right at this point.
this is where they plug him into like that seat, and they're trying as they're checking his vitals, like he's alive but he's not like strong enough. So Morpheus kind of goes in and he's like, Neo, I need you to fight, I need you to kind of wake up. So they're in like this like Japanese style setting,
And that's from
and
the
he's like, come
first.
on,
That's
I
from
know
the
you still
first
have it
movie.
in you. Yeah, he's like, I know you still have it in you, and Morpheus is just like whooping his ass, and he's like, what are you fighting for? And then like Neo thinks of Trinity, and then all of a sudden he gets his power, and he starts like whooping Morpheus's ass. He's
And
like,
he just
I
does
know
like
kung
a
fu.
he does like a big blast, and it like blows up the whole building.
Yeah, and it blows Morpheus like through the building. And
Hmm.
then I think that's when Neo winds up. He either winds up waking up or he's like stable now.
Yeah, they end up
To
like ending the simulation. They put him on a bed. They don't show that. They show him waking up, and Bugs is over him.
yeah,
And then she kind of show introduces him to the entire crew. He's like, "Whoa, there's robots here," and she's like, "Well, you kind of, you know, release them with the, when you did what you did, it actually changed the world. Not all the robots are bad. Some of the robots are good, and these guys are good." One of the crew members is the granddaughter of one of the old crew members that he used to ride with. So that was kind of a throwback. So that was cool. Um, and then
yeah.
they showed Morpheus as like a being. Like I don't even know how to describe it. Like he was almost like a digital version of himself.
He was like a think of like a matrix body outline, like like the ones and zero codes. So it was kind of like that, but made up into like a body ish
But it was like
outline.
gray, and it looked almost like little metal balls that are all connected. Kind of like those like toys as a kid when you kind of put your hand in and it kind of makes the outline. Kind of like that.
Everybody just stubs their face into it.
Yeah. So now Neo talks to everybody. A bunch of them are like, "Oh, we're big fans." He talks to the robots, and they land back into Io, which is like the new like town, I guess, the new city for humans. And he ends up reuniting with Niobe. Niobe was in the original three movies. She was played by Jada Pinkett Smith, and she explains that 6 years have come and gone since the war, and the human survivors have allied with the machines, like the good machines, and have basically defected. Those machines have defected, and now they're part of the human society. Neo's like, "Hey, I want to rescue Trinity," and Niobe's like, I don't think that's a good idea." But Niobe shows Neo that the robots are now helping the humans in two ways. Like they're helping keeping the city, protected. They have a better security system and all that stuff, and they hide better. But now the robots are helping them make fruit, and they give Neo a strawberry, and it's like, "Oh, try this out." And he's like, "Oh, cool." Then they go to Morpheus's shrine, and at this shrine, Niobe's like, "Hey, after that, Morpheus became the leader unanimously. Everyone loved him, and it got hard. And what I got from it was a lot of things changed. The power got to him, and something happened to Neo that I couldn't really figure out. To be honest, I couldn't figure it out. But of what I could figure out is something happened to him, and then Neo made a version of him in the Matrix game that was a mixture of Agent Smith and the Morpheus that he knows. So that's why he's younger and he's still Morpheus. And he's still trying to
That
get his
makes
memories
sense.
back too. Yeah. But
That makes sense.
at that point, Niobe was like, if you go save Trinity, it's going to possibly bring trouble to Io, and I'm not going to let that happen. So I'm going to put you in jail. And he was like, this line kind of caught me. He was like, I just got freed and you're going to put me back in jail? And she said something in the sense of, I know it's unfair. It's unfair like aging, and you don't see me complaining about it because now she's 60 years older than what she was.
Oh, that's a bar.
Yeah. So now they, Bugs and her crew basically break him out. They get him out and they escape. So they enter the
so,
Matrix with their intention to go save Trinity.
so that's where it is. So Neo is standing out on the porch and he's kind of looking over everything, and Morpheus's digitized body comes down and kind of stands with him on the porch, and they're looking, they're talking, and he was like, you want to go save Trinity. Me and the crew are about to steal a ship now to go save her. And he's like, what? Should I break out? I don't know if I should do it. And that's when he's like, there's no such thing as the choice. You already know what you're going to do. And then he kind of looks at him and smiles because he already knew he was going to break out and go save Trinity.
Mm,
But he thought about it and was like, maybe I'll stay in jail where it's safe and not go venture out. So you already knew you wanted to. You know what I mean? Like having the choice, like you already know what choice you're gonna make. You're just battling with yourself on why you shouldn't, which is,
mm.
I thought was a bar, huge bar.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. Um, so after this, they go back into the Matrix, and they're in this like I don't know, an old warehouse factory of some sort. And they're all
Yeah.
like, okay, so the plan is we got to go find Trinity. We have to go find her at the coffee shop, essentially, and figure it all out, right? But Agent Smith, because he was released from his kind of slumber too, he basically stops them and he was like, whoa, hey man, you can join with me, but I can't let you free Trinity because then they're the masters of the Matrix are gonna realize it, and I'm not getting put back. And Neo's like, no, I kind of have to. And then Smith basically releases or has these exiled programs attack Neo and the bugs in the crew, right? If you noticed, these exiles, the French guy, I believe, if I'm correct, the French people are from the second movie, and they go in there in the second movie, and they end up fighting them. They were like the super fancy
Oh
people.
wow.
Yeah. So it's just kind of cool to see how they're all aged hair, and the French guy's like, "You ruined our lives. We had such a good life," and like his accent, I'm botching it, but basically saying like they had a good life, and because Neo interfered, like that's what kind of caused all the issues. So the exiles kind of not kind of they attack them all. There's a big fight scene. Smith and Neo are fighting. Then Bugs and her crew kind of stop the exiles, and then it's one on one Neo and Smith, and Smith clearly has the advantage because I guess he got his powers back and kind of remembered everything he was beforehand. He's just beating the shit out of Neo. They go into this like bathroom area downstairs, just literally just beating the shit out of Neo. Then he basically Smith was like something about Trinity. Um, Boom. Neo uses like superpowers, knocks him out. Bugs and them are trying to find him. And then there's a big explosion downstairs. They all see it. Neo comes up and he's like, "All right, we gotta go." And they're like, "Really?" Even though, like, you sure? Like, you just got your ass whooped. And he's like, "Yeah, we gotta go." Um, and then that's the point that Neo ends up going to find Tiffany, aka Trinity.
So one thing, because again, this movie had so many life metaphors for me, and as you were actually saying that, I just caught a huge one from there. Um, Agent Smith. Here's my theory. I don't know if you guys on live think the same, or if you think I'm crazy. Here's my theory.
You're very crazy, bro.
Agent, absolutely insane. Agent Smith is Thomas Anderson. Think about this. You never see Agent Smith take the red pill that frees him. Yet he does make a statement on how he is connected to Thomas Anderson somehow, and he's not going back
Well,
because he doesn't want the creators.
if you watch the original Matrix, they basically come to the conclusion that they are one and the same, like almost yin and yang.
Yeah. So my theory is that life metaphor, uh, Agent Smith is doubt and fear. When you want to do something positive and you start making the steps towards doing something positive, but everybody else is telling you, no, you can't do this, no, you can't do that, doubt and fear start creeping into your mind like, maybe I can't do that. I'm going to disrupt what's going on. What if this doesn't work? And then you have all the other people that were fighting them, aka your other doubt, your other fear, your other reasons, the other people that are telling you, no, you can't do this, no, you can't do that. Then Smith is whooping Anderson's ass, right? So he's like beating the holy shit out of him. They're like, oh, he's about to die. In my mind, that means that what he was about to do to help himself progress that is different was about to die because fear and doubt were taking over. But then when Smith says something about Trinity, all of a sudden Neo has the power to blast through and defeat fear and doubt because Trinity is his why. Trinity is his reason for doing everything, which when you remember why you're doing stuff or you have your reason of why you want something done, fear and doubt don't stand a chance.
That's true.
Message.
Message. All right. So at this point, a lot of things become clearer, right? So apparently Tiffany works in some sort of bicycle repair shop, auto body shop kind of thing. And Neo goes in and he starts talking to her and he's like, "Hey," and she's like, "Yeah, I kind of always felt like something was weird. I didn't think you were ever going to come back. I noticed that you went missing." And then all of a sudden, it shows Neil Patrick Harris sitting on the friggin' couch, and he is basically the they call them like the analysts of the Matrix. So he pushes them. He like I don't know. He basically has powers that he is faster than anybody, and he can kind of mess with time. So you see him kind of using time, reversing Neo back outside, and walk in again. This time, as he's explaining everything, I'm gonna tell you what goes on, then explain it. So, as he's explaining everything, he takes one of the employees that are working there, who grabs a gun out of a drawer, and then shoots it at Trinity, but the bullet's moving in slow mo, and he's basically like, "Hey, look, it's bullet time in reverse." And so now Neo, you see him running in slow motion to go save Trinity, as the analyst, Neil Patrick Harris, is kind of telling his whole plan, and then the bullet shoots through the apple, and right before it hits Trinity's like head, he just picks the bullet up and just pops it down. So while that whole thing was going on, he basically reveals that a program designed to study the human psyche, that's pretty much what he is. He explains that after Neo and Trinity's death, he was able to resurrect them and study them because the machines wanted to study their code and figure out how, like, they had the powers, and then they came to the conclusion that when they were together they were more powerful. So but they could only read the code and figure out the code when they were close but not too close. So that's why the pods were close but not too close, and that's why they kept them in the same matrix, but they gave them separate lives so they can't get too close with it. And then he found out that Neo found out that like they were suppressing their memories by, like I said, by keeping them far enough, and they made a different matrix more powerful and efficient and more resistant to the anomalies that Neo and Trinity had. Um, that basically made them more powerful than other ones. So when Neo was liberated, the systems and the system, like the safe, the failsafe, kind of like started a reboot in the matrix. So the analyst stalled the reboot by convincing his superiors that basically that he'll get Neo to come back to put everything back to normal. But at this point, another, like, you're going into the whole message stuff. Is at this point, Neil Patrick Harris says something that he's like, he says something, and I kind of feel like it kind of relates to today. He says that he studies people's, like, how people think, and that he realizes that humans only think in feelings and not facts, and that because of that fact, they're easily manipulated because feelings are more easier manipulated than facts. And he goes, humans are the easiest people to manipulate because all they care about is what's in their own head and what benefits them, that their feelings are more powerful than facts. And I'm looking at it again, most of you know where I stand with the COVID stuff, but like I look at it as like factually the evidence and data are there, but the people who are fear mongering, the people and saying the vaccine will hurt you, COVID's not a big deal, etc., is now allowing these people to work off of feeling and now are easier to manipulate versus people who work off facts are not the ones that are being manipulated. And I was like, wow. And it was like dead on, and it was, and then he explained that because of that fact that people are more easily manipulated, it gives the agents in him the ability to take over the bodies of any person in this matrix versus the previous trilogy that they were only the agents, and then they had to like and like take over one person at a time, and like they had to like morph into their bodies to create their own. In this, they kind of just take over their brain and control their bodies.
Because when you're in your emotions and your fear is high, then it takes over, and then fear runs with it.
Yeah. So at this point, I don't really know how, but they pull everyone out of the Matrix. They pull Neo out, and Trinity's still in there. Okay. Um, you would think that with the analyst or Neil Patrick Harris that he would have stopped it, but he didn't. So now they get forcibly removed from the Matrix, and another ship sent by Niobe uh, brings their ship back, and it's basically like, hey, um, you guys fucked up, and you're gonna go face trial, right?
Yeah.
So when they get back to Io, they're all talking, and they're basically, she's saying like, Niobe's like, you're banned, you're not allowed to fly anymore, and I don't know, Sati comes, and basically this was kind of cool but a little confusing to explain. This big like manatee thing comes flying down out of nowhere, and all the people are like, "Oh my god, it's a robot." And Niobe is like, "No, it's a good robot. They're here to help." they reveal that the program in this manatee is Sati, and if you realize, they actually showed a little flashback, is the little Indian girl from, I believe, Matrix 1, who was a program who helped Neo, is now grown up in this manatee. She's the program in this manatee. And she brings like their Matrix versions into the manatee to have a discussion with them. And she's seeking to avenge her parents who were killed at the heads of the machine. She
Hmm.
knew, or her parents actually helped um, put Neo and Trinity in these pods, but at like, threat of death. So she's basically like, I knew my parents helped, I knew what happened, but then they killed him anyway. And she like helped like make this whole plan to free Trinity. Um, yeah, I don't know if you want to go from here, but this whole plan, like back in the Matrix, on how to free her, and like part of it was in the Matrix, part of it was out of the Matrix, and it was, yeah, kind of crazy.
It's weird because, so from my understanding, Trinity and Neo did die, but they got their remains, put them in the pod, and recreated their brains and kind of recreated their bodies, so to speak, inside the Matrix. Again, going off of life metaphors, it was a rebirth, but at this point, you know, as they died, they were rebirthed back into the rat race, not staying their free willed self. So they hatched this plan to, because Neo's pretty much like, hey, you found me. Why can't we do the same for Trinity? And they're like, well, it's kind of harder and we don't know if she'll do it. And he's like, well, what were the odds that I would do it? And, all right, it's the same. He's like, I got to try to like free her. So they have this plan. If I remember correctly, they had the chick with the blue hair go, and they had Morpheus kind of slide because he can go into like particles and like go undetected
Yeah, because he's like a
against the
machine.
other bugs and
Yeah.
robots. Yeah, and he gets into the pod and he kind of deactivates the pod on Trinity's side. And what their plan is, they're gonna unhook Trinity and hook up the blue hair girl to her, so it looks as if Trinity is still inside the Matrix, so to speak.
Yeah.
Um, and
So it was
Neo
like this
is
weird
like Neo
plan.
contacts. Yeah, and they were like, it might not work. If it doesn't work, you might get stuck forever. So Neo's like, I gotta try. So he goes back into the Matrix and he makes a deal with Neil Patrick Harris, saying like, look, let me just talk to her. If she chooses to go with you, I'll go back to the Matrix and stay here forever. And if she chooses to go with me, you let us go. And he's like, yeah, that's fine. He's like, but how do I know you won't pull yourself out of the Matrix? And he's like, the same way I won't know if you'll actually let us go. So they're back in the Matrix. They're in this like diner type deal, and there's like
No, they're
people
they're in the coffee
every.
shop. They're in the same coffee shop.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And there's people everywhere, and Neo's walking along, and he's like, "Oh, alone. All right, that's cool." So then Tiffany walks in, and she sits down next to him. She's like, "I missed you." Like she almost went through her whole spiel all over again, and
Mm.
he pretty much told her, there's a different life. Come with me. I know you know. And then she explains how she keeps having this reoccurring dream that involves him, and they're on a motorcycle, and the motorcycle crashes, and they don't make it out alive, and they fall to their death or whatever. And
Well, at this point, right
he pretty
before
much
that,
tells her like,
oh, sorry, right before that, the rest of
okay,
Neo's crew walks in when he's like, "Oh, so
that's right.
not alone then." So sorry, I just wanted to add that. So now you got Neo, his whole
Yeah.
crew in there, and then you got Neil Patrick Harris, the analyst, and like hundreds of like people who are taking over.
And he's got his cat too. I never understood the symbolism
Come
of
on,
his
you didn't
cat.
understand it?
I didn't.
Oh,
Or
then you
maybe
don't
I
remember
just
the
didn't get
Matrix.
it.
So in the
Maybe I
Matrix,
didn't get it.
in the original, I believe it was the first one. Basically, if something happens twice and you see deja vu, that means the agents are close. Like that means something bad's gonna happen. So in the first movie, I remember they're just like walking, and then someone sees a black cat, and then it comes back, and they're like, "Oh, deja vu," and they're like, "Oh, fuck, we gotta run!" And the cat in the movie
Oh,
or in the therapist's office or Neil Patrick Harris's character had a cat named Deja Vu.
I okay.
I
That
caught that
yeah, that skipped
early.
my mind.
I caught that early.
That
I was like,
skipped my
"Oh, he's
mind.
got to be a bad guy then."
That skipped my mind.
Yeah.
So Neo sits down and he's talking with Tiffany, and he's like, this is my life, blah blah blah. So then she starts to like think about it, and then like I think Neil Patrick Harris does like something or moves a certain way, and then Tiffany's family walks in, her husband and her kids. Hey, come home, Tiffany. Like, come with us. And she looks at Neo. She's like, I'm sorry. Like, this is where I'm meant to be. I need to be with my family. And another message. Um, Sometimes people will do things out of love and tell you that you either can't do something or that it's too dangerous. Not because they want to see you fail or not because they don't think that you can do it, but because they are projecting their own fears onto you.
Hmm.
So in here, it's the husband and I think the son, right? Or the daughter, the husband and
It's
the
all of them.
daughter.
It's her. It's both the kids and the husband.
Well, isn't somebody missing because they say somebody got hurt and they're in the hospital?
The dog.
Oh, the dog.
Yeah.
And that's what gets her to be like, I gotta go, I gotta be there for my family. Like they start pulling on the family strings. So she starts walking out and he's like, come on, Tiffany, let's go. And she's like kind of like looks back and like all hell breaks loose. And now Neo and his crew is fighting with the people turned agents now, and they're at the door and they're getting ready to leave, and then all of a sudden Tiffany stops, and the husband's like yanking on her arm. Let's go, Tiffany. Let's go, Tiffany. And then she looks and turns and goes, "Don't fucking call me that." And then Trinity's back.
Yeah. She's like, I fucking hate that name. I'm Trinity. And I'm like, what?
So then now everybody's fighting. She's fighting. Um, oh, and that was another big thing we missed. She had to have the free will to leave the Matrix on her own. They couldn't
Hmm.
just pull her out, which is the reason on why he had to like talk to her and convince her. She had to make that choice. Again, in life, you have to make that choice whether or not you want to move on with your goals or move on with your aspirations. And like sometimes it might require dropping that comfortable 9 to 5 to go chase your dream job. Um, and you have to make that choice. Nobody else can make that choice for you. So once she makes that choice, they're like, all right, we're good to go. So the blue haired chick finally gets in place, and you have the other girl who is back in the real world, who's working through like the manatee, like in like a hologram type deal,
Oh, that's
who's
Santi.
working the
Santi.
Santi, yeah, who's working like the controls to like kind of disable the plug from the back of Trinity to get her out of the pod, and then they insert the plug into what's her name? I keep forgetting her
Bugs.
name. The blue Bugs.
Bugs. Yeah.
So they plug Bugs in and they disconnect Trinity, and now Bugs and Trinity are the same person technically
For like a quick
in the
second.
game of the Matrix. And Bugs and Trinity just keep flashing back and forth, which is really cool. And they're just whooping ass. They're beating everybody's ass, and then they finally get out of the store, and they finally get Bugs back. But Bugs reinserts herself into the Matrix because they're getting pinned down and they need help. So now you have Trinity, Neo, Bugs, Morpheus, and a couple other guys there. And everybody in the town now is now activated as an agent. Like people are waking up from their sleeps and jumping out the window and launching themselves.
Yeah,
And
this is wild.
it's like if you think about it in analogy, now this is you've already made the decision to start going towards your dreams and goals. And now all fear, all doubt is coming at you from left, right, left, right, left, right to try to stop you and put you back in that matrix, back in that 9 to 5.
Hmm.
Um, so they get in the car, right? At this
Well, one thing
point,
I just wanna
and
I
they're like
wanna
shooting.
we forgot one thing. So before they did this plan, Niobe basically said, "Hey," she called all her like captains, her flight captains, called them all over, and she was like, "I have this plan," and they all kind of volunteered. So there's a lot of people here in this scene that are not just from Neo ship, but from like at least 8 other different ships. So there's a bunch of people here, right? So like you said, once the fighting starts, everyone kind of like runs out. Well, no, actually, we forgot one big thing. Um, the analyst or Neil Patrick Harris realizes that he was losing because Trinity decided to leave. That Agent Smith comes in and just like shoots up
Oh,
Neil
that's
Patrick
right.
Harris and doesn't kill him, but stops him for there. And then he basically says something like, "Hey, I can't let like anything go back to the way it was." And Agent Smith is the one who takes over everybody. So they all get out. Um, you know, Neo and Trinity are on a motorcycle. All the other crew members are in different cars. Bugs and Morpheus are still watching over Trinity's body. And two of the crew members get pinned in a car, and you could see them getting beat up in the real world, like while they're laying on the beds. And then Bug's like, "You gotta let me in. You gotta let me in." And her and Morpheus go in. They kind of help them, and it's just wild. Like the whole thing is just wild. Like you said, there's people just jumping out off of roofs or out of windows, just like almost being like suicide bombs. Like they're jumping and they're trying to land on the cars or the motorcycle, just trying to like boom, 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 boom. And then
Well,
there's
this is
like a
where they reset
helicopter.
everybody, right?
Reset everybody.
They hit the reset button because that's what they were. That's what he was like trying. That's what he was like warning Neo about before.
Oh, maybe. Um, but
And I
then
think
like
that's what activated everybody.
maybe I didn't get that if that's the case. But then there's like a helicopter that's shooting after Morpheus and them, and you know they get off the motorcycle, they're running up a building, and they're dealing with all the stuff. They get to the roof, and they're just they're trying to Neo. Actually, at this point, Neo has this like shield power, and obviously like the original Matrix, he could block the bullets and stuff. So he just keeps using the shield power to protect him and Trinity and block bullets and stuff like that. They get to the top of the roof. There's one helicopter that is shooting at him. He's blocking it, no problem. A second one comes. He's blocking it. A third one comes. They're blocking it, and then they're like, "What do we do?" And everyone's kind of watching them, and they're like, "Fuck it, let's just run," and they run off the building, and all the other crew members are like, "Are they gonna make it? Are they gonna make it?" It clearly shows that they're not gonna make it, and then all of a sudden, Trinity, out of all people, is flying now, and she's holding Neo up. And she's like, and now she doesn't know how to move. She's just kind of floating. And Neo's like, and now the helicopters are aiming at them. And then all of a sudden, she realizes how to control the flying and just like, boom, and just flies them out. And then they both wake
Takes
up.
off.
They both wake up. They kind of give each other a big hug, um, all that stuff. And they reunite. And then now that Trinity has powers, and I guess Neo rediscovers his powers. They both return to the Matrix. They fly over to Neil Patrick Harris. He's back in his like therapy office, and he's like trying to run his mouth, and fucking Trinity just like kicks off his jaw, and then it just like regrows, and then she kicks it off again, and he's basically like, "Oh, you can't convince me to do nothing," and blah blah, and he's they're like, "Oh yeah, thankful. We're so thankful for this fresh start that you gave us." And he's like, "Oh, he's just talking shit as a bad guy." And they're like, actually, we intend to remake this whole Matrix as they seem fit." And then Neo and Trinity fly off.
So cool thing about that is it looks like Neo and Trinity now have the power that he had, but he doesn't have anymore. Because they keep rewinding it so that way he grows it back. Because I think Neo is snapping, I think, or one of them is snapping, and it's
Snapping.
like going back. Doesn't he like snap his fingers, or he does something to like he does something the same way Neil Patrick Harris like kind of reround time? I
I
think.
must have missed that if that was the case.
I think so, because that's them like rewriting everything and bringing back everything. But another big thing that we missed, um, when they get out of the bar, they're like, "Neo, you got your powers back. Can you fly?" And like Neo's like, "Let me
Uh,
try." And then he tries to like fly, and you just see like wind around him. He's like, guess not."
oh, that's when they
And
originally left the bar. No, the coffee shop. Yeah,
yeah, and then when they're on top of the roof, and the helicopters are shooting at him, Neo grabs one of the missiles that's shot at them and like redirects it at another helicopter and like blows them all up.
that's true. That was cool.
And then another helicopter pops up, and again another life metaphor. Both of them believed in each other, ran, grabbed each other's hand, jumped off the building, aka took their leap of faith. Trinity believed it. Here she is. She's ready to go. She now has unlocked, aka the rebirth. As long as you take that leap of faith, you never know what'll happen. Good things will happen.
And
Uh,
actually, what you were saying that is very true. Is actually throughout the movie, people kept saying, "Oh, you're the chosen one. You're the chosen one." He's like, "I never really believed that I was the chosen one. The only one that believed that I was the chosen one was Trinity."
ooh,
So
that's a bar.
it shows that once they were reunited, that he got his faith back in himself, and by being reunited, she got her faith back in herself, which then made them both powerful, like a power couple.
And also, Neo believed in Trinity 100%, which set her mind free so she can rebirth herself to do what she needed to do, which is the reason on why even in the movie, Bugs keeps telling Neo like, "I was there the day you jumped. You gave me belief." Because Neo took the leap of faith, but he didn't fall. She said that he just hovered. And the next thing you know, he was on the ground because the Matrix reset him. So that
Mm.
way he wouldn't think he could take that leap. Trinity took that leap of faith. Neo believed in Trinity, which is the reason on why she didn't fall. That good quote of "Oh, just run and take that leap of faith." It's like, "Oh, what if I fall? Oh, but my dear, what if you fly?"
Hmm.
And then that's why at the end Neo starts believing in himself. So now him and Trinity have each other. Now they're both flying into their new life.
And that was the end of the movie, minus a post-credit scene.
Ooh, speak about it.
Did you see it?
I did.
Oh, it was basically just the brainstorming team of the video game, just basically saying that video games are no good, and they said something else that is no good, and they're like, I guess we're just gonna have to keep thinking. But it was kind of silly, but but
But it was
that's the
like
end of the
repetitive.
movie. Yeah, exactly. It was the same repetitive shit that happened when Neo was still trapped in the Matrix.
Actually, that's a bar too because they were like, "Oh, video games are no good. Guess we got to keep thinking." A lot of people don't execute on their plans because all they're doing is gathering information. Like in Level Up Your Life, or South Park. We won't work until we get underpants. And all right, well, what's the next phase? Get more underpants, aka get more knowledge, or get more information, or plan, or scout. but they never take that step to actually create anything, which is the reason on why they kept going over the same thing over and over again. And that's the definition of insanity, doing the
Hmm.
same thing over and over again. So I thought that
Yep.
was cool.
So yeah, that was the overall movie. I liked it. I mean, again, we didn't go into super detail because a lot of the action scenes, it's hard to describe exactly what's happening, but the action scenes were cool all the way through. So if you like the original three Matrix and you like those kind of action scenes of them like running up the walls, doing a flip, spinning and shooting while they're running and like dodging bullets and you know all that shit, like definitely watch it because we didn't go into all those details. There was a lot of those kind of stuff. Um, the character development, I thought, for Bugs, because again, it showed her origin, how she got there, what drove her to get to that point. The character, the older characters that were mentioned, that were shown, a lot of the flashbacks that showed that kind of like, if you're like, is that from the original? And then they showed scenes from them. Um, the fact that they brought back Mr. Anderson and Morpheus just as different characters, that it still worked, it made sense. Overall, I just really thought it was a good movie. I honestly like really enjoyed it, but I really enjoy The Matrix. When I finished it, I was like, I want to go back and watch the original three, to be honest with you, because I like
Right?
them so much. I,
Right?
I really hope it does get a second because it could show that the analyst is just kind of like a puppet of the overall robot masters. And this could be, because Neo and Trinity both have powers, it could be like the controllers, the robot controllers, like against them in the Matrix instead of just Neo versus everyone. It could be Trinity and Neo. And I think that'd be really cool. And then it could show the backstory of Io, and maybe there's other human civilizations that are not shown here. I don't know. I think it can go in a lot of different directions. I'm very excited. I enjoyed the movie. I don't know why people were shitting on it. It was a very open-ended ending. Maybe that's why. But if you like The Matrix, I don't know. I really enjoyed it.
I thought it was really good. Overall, in my opinion of the movie, to sum up everything that I got from it, because again, all I got was life quotes from it. Like you said, you saw the origin story from one person, but the only reason she had that origin story was because she saw Neo in his original form, which gave her the belief to take the leap herself. When Neo died, that was almost like, if you think about it in life, that was his failure. So then after that, he started going back to his old thinking, his old habits, his comfort zone back in the Matrix to work your 9 to 5 because he didn't have that belief. He didn't truly believe that he was the one. Morpheus and Trinity believed it. Then you have um, you starting to get that inkling again and starting to get that traction again. Then you get your rebirth. Then you get your belief, and now you're off to the races again. This movie was so crazy and just so many different takeaways and the action scenes. It brought me back to when I was a kid. Me and my dad used to watch the original Matrix because he loved that stuff. And yeah, I hope they make another one. I mean, I heard it did bad in the movie theaters, and I heard it flopped a little bit. But
I
I
mean,
mean,
it
there's
was
so
good.
much you could still do.
Yeah, there's so much you could still do. So much you could still do. But like you said, even like the whole scene of Neo or Tom Anderson while he was doing the 9 to 5, the rinse and repeat, the rinse and repeat, like they could have just shown it once. You know what I'm saying? They showed it. It was probably like a 5 minute scene, 6 minute scene of them just like work, home, gym, work, home, same meeting, repeat it, repeat it, repeat it, repeat it. Like to the point that I was like, wow, this is annoying, but it was annoying for a purpose.
It's what we all go through life every single day. People are either in their 9 to 5s or they're doing something that they hate and they're going over and over and over again and they're like, man, it'd be cool if I did this. All right, time to get up and go to work.
Yeah.
Back in that same cycle, back in that same cycle. There was no break until finally either you have somebody else who believes in you who's like, yo, come with me, let me show you what you can do. or you break out yourself. But yeah, like you said, it was almost too much,
Too spot on.
but it needed that to be the purpose. Yeah,
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. So what would you rate this out of I guess out of 10?
I'd probably rate it. I want to say an 8.
Okay. I'm going to
I feel
say
like
7.58 for myself too.
I feel like there could have been more of a story there. Like, don't get me wrong, there was a story there, but it didn't feel rushed, but it just felt like it was missing something. Like you had everything there, but it's hard to explain, but like something from the story felt like it was a tiny bit rushed.
Yeah, I agree. But if you think about the first Matrix movie, at the end of the first one is when they revealed that he has powers and he could dodge bullets and he gets shot and like kind of revives and then it kind of ends.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like, "Wait, I want more of his powers." So I kind of felt like
And
this
then you
one
get the second
ended.
one.
Yeah, then you got the second one, and which then showed more of his powers. I kind of feel like this is was the same thing here. Is that the whole story was him trying to, you know, resurrect himself and then resurrect his partner Trinity, which then now it revealed that Trinity now has said powers. So wouldn't it be cool to now see a whole kind of Trinity saga, or So I don't know. That's what I would think. That would be cool. I hope they do
I
another
think it
one.
would be awesome. I
Yeah.
hope they do too, because then they can even like focus more on like Trinity's version or maybe Trinity's mentorship to Bugs.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And just like how, and I also forgot in a way that the big war at the end of the third one that actually happened in the real world with all the machines coming in, and you had the ruler, the mayor in the tech suit going ah, and then getting consumed like that. The Matrix stuff was cool, but also the real world stuff was even cooler, I thought. So
You had the machines, the war
yeah,
against the machine,
yeah.
the corporations.
So yeah, but that is the Matrix Resurrections. I don't know what you guys thought. If you guys wanted to leave any feedback on either if you're in the live, you could comment now. We'll read your feedback live. If you're not live, you could leave feedback on the post on Instagram. But we want to know what you guys thought. We really liked it, as we said. So as we wait to see if anything comes in, why don't we again just say remember to like, share, rate, review, comment, and subscribe to Disaster Party Podcast on all social media platforms, including the YouTube. And on YouTube, remember to hit the notification button so that you will get a notification when we go live. So for the next few episodes, we don't have anything in particular order except for maybe next week or Sunday. We're gonna review Marvel's Eternals. It is now available on Disney Plus as of today, so we're gonna watch that and review that. I'm excited. I haven't seen it yet. Have you seen it yet?
I have not seen it yet. Actually, I was trying to figure out a way to see it and just never got the chance to go see it. So I'm very excited that it's on Disney Plus now.
Same, same. Then after that, we have a couple of episodes in the works. We have a couple of Know Thy Neighbors coming up. We have possibly an episode with El Jefe Marv if he, can settle on a date. Um, I know, I know.
Smoke Chiba Chiba.
Chiba Chiba. We have Eric coming on either next week or the week after. He's going to talk about Hudson Valley nightlife and some other things that he wants to talk about. Totally cool. This guy is a young entrepreneur who has the mind. This guy's gonna. We've known this kid since he was like 15, and we're like he's gonna be super successful when he gets older. and it's so well known with the way he talks, to presents himself, the ideas that he has, the mindset that he has. I'm excited to talk to him. Um, we're also
Cannot
probably
wait.
going to review Boba Fett, the book of Boba Fett. That's already 3 episodes in, so there's 3 more episodes. We'll probably throw that in there. Peacemaker is now coming out in the next couple of days for on HBO Max, the John Cena series as Peacemaker. That's going to be a continuation of Suicide Squad, which we have done a review of. If you haven't listened, go back again. So last week, if you haven't listened already, we did Hawkeye last week. We did the week before that, we did our Christmas horror special with Brent and Sean, and we reviewed Santa's Sleigh with Bill Goldberg. The week before that, we did our Spider-Man No Way Home review. So if you haven't watched these, and the episode before that was a fan favorite, our Office Revisited episode, which was hilarious.
Ooh.
We had a good time with that. So if you haven't listened to those episodes that we've previously recorded, go back, listen, give us some feedback, tell us what you liked, tell us what you didn't like, and look forward to the future episodes coming out. So, yeah. Anything you want to add, Andy?
Yeah. If you guys have any topics you want to hear, if you guys want us to review any movies, any shows, songs, bands, TV shows, cartoons, you name it, crypto, NFTs, anything you want us to review, let us know. Shoot us a comment, shoot us a tweet. Um, we want to hear what you guys want to hear, and we want to talk about what you guys want to talk about. As always, thank you for rocking with us. I appreciate y'all. We love y'all.
And as for Disaster Party Podcast, I'm Rob Cedeno,
I'm the American icon,
and
the one true
we
world daddy.
are out. Bye bye.